Season 2, episode 27 of the Thursday podcast is live. What's going on, boys and girls? I'm Nate. That's Brian here to my right. Happy Thursday to y'all, man. Thursday night football is today, as we are recording this. And our beloved Giants are playing tonight against our division rival in the Dallas Cowboys. Brian, how you doing? How's your confidence level heading to this one?
Surprisingly, it's optimistic. It's weird. I woke up this morning, even with everything. I woke up. I'm like, there's a path to victory for this Giants team. Yes, it's the Cowboys. They might straighten things out, but we're running into them at the best time. They're struggling. I would say I'm like 60-40 right now. I still think we'll lose, but I think as the day goes on, it's gonna be 50-50. Me on my couch being like, I don't know. We might have this.
Hey, look, we don't have the best luck against the Cowboys. I think they've beaten us 12 times in a row. I feel like, or 10 of the past 12 games they've beaten us.
The Jets Patriots level, isn't it? We're gonna be the next
Yeah.
Jets Patriots, aren't we? Damn.
But it's okay because, like Jason Pinnock said, it's all about the 13th, the 13th time. That matters. And tonight is, if the Giants can win tonight, to be 2-2 heading into week
Season's
5.
back on.
Yeah, like the optimism.
Exactly where we said this team was going to be after 4 weeks. Should be 2-2. We should win it. I mean, it flipped. We thought we were going to win the first 2 games and lose the next 2. But any way to get to 2-2, I'll take it.
Me too. Yeah, and if those 2 wins being against Cleveland and hopefully after tonight against Dallas, big wins against teams that should have been contenders. But hey, we will see what happens. And that's the first topic we'll break down today. We'll talk about our week 4 picks as well. Talk about some Notre Dame as they take on the Louisville Cardinals this upcoming weekend, and also discuss MLB as the Mets. You guys are almost there.
For me, sports weekend coming up with it's very early still, but this is a huge game for Notre Dame's playoff push. The Mets are going to win now every single game, especially with this debacle of a weather situation, which we'll get into, because if we start right now, we'll never get to the Giants.
Yeah, and I promise we will. Definitely want to get your thoughts on the Mets. And then finally, we'll end the show with this special topic: 5 sports moments that should be movies. Me and Brian have some thoughts on that. But first, the New York Football Giants take on the Cowboys tonight, and we have an injury report. We kind of had some our initial preview on Tuesday just to kind of get through it, because usually we don't do previews the day of the games, and because the Giants play on Thursday night, our second episode of the week is on Thursday. I thought it'd be nice to get the preview out on Tuesday and kind of just give our final thoughts today. Injury report wise, we know 2 players are going to be out for the Giants tonight, and that is Adoree Jackson and Andrew Phillips. Both have calf injuries. Did not practice all week long. They had a walkthrough every day this week, but unfortunately, that did not help anyone's case in terms of Adoree and Phillips, as they will be out tonight. Brian, how much confidence do you have in the rest of the secondary, as we should expect Nick McLeod to play, as well as Isaiah Simmons and Trey Hawkins so McLeod, Hawkins, and Simmons to play tonight? Your confidence
secondary it's really concerning for me, because if you looked at the injury report, Nick McLeod's on the injury report too. He's been limited in practice all week with a knee injury, so who knows what that could be. But no, this scares me, because it's Deonte Banks and then a bunch of question marks. We've seen what Nick McLeod and Trey Hawkins and Isaiah Simmons have done in pass coverage in the past, but were we really impressed by it? No, that's why we went out and we got Drew Phillips, we got Adoree Jackson, we got Tyler Nubin to replace Xavier McKinney. We were very concerned about the depth of this secondary, and it's being tested tonight, and it's a huge test for them tonight to see, to prove to Joe Shane, his organization, that we can be part of the long-term plan for this team.
Yeah. So far this season, we've had confidence in Cordell Flott, who's done a pretty good job at holding down things as quarterback number two. So thank God he's healthy. It's just that we signed Adore for a reason, like you just mentioned, and Drew Phillips has done an outstanding job in the slot. So losing those two guys in a big game against Dallas, where you have to deal with CeeDee Lamb, you have to deal with Brandon Cooks, who may be a little washed, but he's still a pretty solid wide receiver number two. Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson, tight end.
Yeah.
Like it's Dallas
It's
just
a middle attack.
yeah, just because they're struggling doesn't mean they don't have weapons on that team. And Dallas always manages to have a good game against us, no matter offensively or defensively. However, this year is a bit different, I will say, to kind of help our confidence in this game because they have no run game. Like the Giants should not allow Zeke and or Dowdle to combine for 100 yards tonight whatsoever because the running game is just terrible. So
Yeah, no, it's bad. You have a bunch of wash guys and a guy who was drafted. It was dude whose father is a Cowboy scout, right?
yes, Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still there or not. But yeah, no, it's a bunch of unproven guys and a bunch of washed veterans. So, in a day where the run game is going to be very important because I'm pretty sure we're calling for rain. It's raining right now in Connecticut, so I can only imagine what it's doing in New York. So it's going to be miserable field conditions. You're going to have to run the ball. And if Dallas can't run it, you're in a major position because the biggest weakness Dallas has had this entire season has been their run defense. They couldn't stop Alvin Kamara. They couldn't stop Derrick Henry. If you can get a game plan involving Singletary, involving maybe Daniel Jones using his legs, you got a really good shot of scoring points on this Cowboys team.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It will be raining tonight, unfortunately. So that's gonna be tough to
The
do.
game, I've been through a few rain games. They're rough.
They're not fun,
They're rough.
especially if your team's losing.
Oh, your team loses. Oh,
Not the best feeling. Not the
that
best.
game of rain the entire time. It was the most depressing tailgate afterwards. We're just sitting there in the rain, just ponchos ripped up. Like, this sucks.
When was this again?
The Giants Jets game last year. Actually, Giants Patriots was rain too, but they won that game, so
Yeah,
didn't really
10,
matter.
10-7. Barely survived it, but a win is a win.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully tonight the Giants do get the win. In terms of the Dallas Cowboys, though, because the Giants don't have anyone else, so Darius Slayton is questionable as we are recording this at the moment. Dexter Lawrence, Nick McLeod, Micah McFadden, Jermaine Illuminor, and John Michael Schmitz were on the injury report for their respective injuries, but they were all expected to play
Limited.
tonight.
Yeah.
Either limited or as in for Illuminor and John Michael Schmidt's case, they practice all week. But no status on them so far, but they are all expected to play outside of the three players in Jackson, Phillips, and Slayton that we mentioned. Slayton being questionable as of right now. For Dallas Cowboys, they did walkthroughs all week as well. Marquise Bell, the safety, and Caitlin Carson, their corner, dealing with ankle and shoulder injuries, respectively. They are doubtful for tonight's game. As for Trevon Diggs, C.D. Lamb, DeMarcus Lawrence, Mazzie Smith, John Stevens, and C.J. Goodwin, they are all expected to play tonight for the Cowboys. So they don't have as much major losses tonight as we do, but hopefully the Giants can handle it down. And I expect big games, not a big game, but just a solid game, I should say, from Cordell Flott and Isaiah Simmons tonight, as well as Nick McLeod and Trey Hawkins if he needs to play. Any final thoughts on the Giants Cowboys? I know we talked about it Tuesday, Brian. And for those of you who haven't checked it out yet, check out our previous episode where we previewed the Giants Cowboys game tonight. But any final thoughts on this game before we move on? Because we kind of covered everything Tuesday. Not much changes whatsoever.
Just run the ball. That's my only thing. Just run the ball. It's crappy. It's going to be the Dallas defense. It's weekends to run. Come up with get Singletary involved, get Tracy, get Eric Gray involved. Let's really shove down their throats. Old school Giants football.
Yeah, it may be boring because no one likes likes a low scoring game, but at the same time, you gotta take advantage of the other team's weaknesses. And Dallas run defense is pretty bad. They allowed a lot of yards to Kamara, a lot of yards to the Ravens in general, with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson back there running the football last week. Singletary isn't Derrick Henry or Alvin Kamara whatsoever, but he is a solid back nonetheless. And you'd have two capable backups back behind him in Tyron Tracy and Eric Gray. Tracy kind of getting more playing time as of recently. Eric Gray kind of taking a backseat, which
I think they're trying to convert Gray to return specialist. That's why he's not getting touched on the field, which is stupid. But no, they're trusting Tracy, so at least we got something.
yeah, yeah. Eric Gray, he's just not. Honestly, if he's not running back, if he's not playing at running back, just put him on special team as like a gunner. The whole return specialist crap isn't gonna work. So
Sign one of those. Go on, sign one of those to do
mhm.
that.
Which we have one as well, I can't even say his name. Osheski. There we go.
Yeah, Gunny, yeah.
Yeah, gunner. But he's injured, so we'll see what happens with that. So, and we have Amir Smith Marset, who we signed like a week or two ago, and he's a return specialist at this point in his career. So we have options. We don't have to put Eric Gray back there, but hey.
I'd rather not in the rain. I'd rather not. I just said it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Because if he fumbles when it's not raining, imagine when it is raining or when it will rain tonight. Definitely not the prettiest sight. But for Dallas, look, Deontay Banks, he is more than capable of handling CD Lamb. CD is one of the best receivers in the league, but Deontay Banks,
he's a little banged up too on the injury report all week with an ankle injury. He was
Mhm.
full practice, but hey, something's bugging him, so he might not be 100%.
Yeah, he wouldn't be on the injury report if it wasn't a bother. So Banks definitely should handle him tonight. Hopefully, handles him well. We have the utmost confidence in Banks. We rarely talk about him on this podcast, but it's only because we trust him, and he was a first round pick
last year too. As a rookie, I
Yeah,
think he was our favorite guy last year.
yeah. Like we trusted him. Like he was a guy that his swagger, his character on and off the field is pretty humorous, I would say. So definitely have the most utmost confidence.
Video of him getting his child picture. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. Great job by the Giants on that one. That
I
was pretty
love
good.
that, dude.
Yeah.
I love that trend right now. They're finding old pictures of players, and the players' reactions are fun to watch as well. But yeah, I think overall we have confidence in this team. Maybe it's because they just beat Cleveland and everything, but in all seriousness, though, if we do win tonight, definitely a big boost to this Giants team and kind of gives us optimism because you mentioned earlier in the show, Brian, this week's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 was supposed to be a gauntlet for this team. They've beaten one team in this gauntlet so far. We should be 3-1, but hey, let's not dwell on the past as much as we should.
Yeah.
So a win tonight would definitely do us a lot of favors in terms of the division race. Not say the Giants are going to win the division, but hey, the playoffs
it's open.
are within reach.
It's wide open. The NCAA is just more wide open than people want to say it is. Like, I mean, I honestly think it's the Commanders to lose right now based off the way Daniels has played.
Yeah, who's done extremely. He has turned from a guy who was like, okay, let's see what happens with him this year to someone who should pick up in fantasy. If you guys, possibly have him available, which he shouldn't be because he's doing really good. But overall in real life, he and the Commanders have done extremely. I think he had like a 91% completion percentage on Monday Night Football. It was insane.
It was just ridiculous. Absolutely. And it's not like these like check down throws. These are big game throws. Like that one pass he had to Terry McLaurin. I don't know how he did that.
Yeah, he's just insane. Like his arm is great. Is he better than Caleb right now? Yeah. Drake May, yeah, better than Drake May.
It's 3 games, but like he's probably the best quarterback. He's the favorite to win Rookie of the Year, and he's the best quarterback in that draft class.
To sum it up with Daniels, he's done more with less because when in Chicago, a lot of weapons in the Chicago. Swift, Odunze, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. Granted, Allen has been injured, but that's not. Hey, the Commanders have McLaurin, and that's it.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, Luke McCaffrey, out of all people. But hey, NFC East not as weak as many thought it would be. Commanders competing, Eagles are the Eagles, Cowboys are still always up there, and our Giants, they have one win in the win column.
They have a
Anything
chance to get back into it. I don't want to
we
say they're
just
in it right now, but a win tonight and they're back in.
yeah.
1-1 division record. It's like, okay. Yeah.
Final question before we move on. Do you expect Greg Joseph to get a solid amount of field goal attempts because of the rain?
I think early on or like late in the game they might, but I feel like if it's like midway during the game, they might just try to roll the offense out there.
You can go for it. Yeah, we don't need.
Yeah, I feel
Screw the
like I can
field
say like
goals.
a test period. Like, all right, let's see what we kick once in the rain. Oh, he's missing bad. All right, we're gonna go for it. Oh, he's nailing it. All right, good.
Yay! And Brandon Aubrey, he's been outstanding for the Cowboys this season. I think 10 for 10 on field goals so far this year. So yeah, I do want to point out one thing. There was a post about Daniel Jones. I do want to shout him out because I know we've criticized him a lot. We talk about him a lot on this podcast, but I do want to give him his props. His poise so far this season, and honestly throughout his whole career with Jones, he's taken a lot of criticism. We've criticized him a lot. A lot of people out there in the New York media and across the NFL landscape have criticized him a lot. Um, Look, if the Giants do turn this around, especially tonight, a lot of credit has to go for him. And I understand that he may not put up the most gaudy stats like other quarterbacks do, like a first round quarterback should. Uh, but we have to understand, at the end, for those who defend him, there are reasons for that. This is the first time he's had a receiver that he can depend on and that will make plays for him. And for those who are like, oh, well, Malik Neighbors, yeah, he made him better. Okay. Well, yeah, he's supposed to. I mean, every quarterback deserves a wide
Stephon
receiver.
Diggs.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs made Josh Allen better. DeAndre Hopkins made Kyler Murray better. CeeDee Lamb made Dak better. Should I go on?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and
AJ
Devontae
Brown
Smith.
made Hurts better. Hurts is already pretty decent, but he got even better with AJ Brown.
Yeah. So why, for people who are, hating out there, why can't Jones have a guy? You expect him to be miserable throughout his whole career? No. Um, so Malik has,
Like Tyreek,
yeah, Tyreek and Tua.
but like
So yeah,
Tyreek
so
and
it's
Mahomes and
yeah,
Kelsey.
yeah. So why can't it's not fair? What Jones can have a guy, um, and no matter the criticism, no matter how hard things have been, uh, look, let's not forget. As much as it is a while ago, we did make the playoffs with him under center, and he did it with a cast of Richie James, Marcus Johnson, Slayton was there as well, but let's be honest, the whole Giants team that year
Plus,
was
it's like
just
that playoff game. He had that huge drop.
yeah.
Come back on the field.
hmm So he's done a lot more with less. Um, well, that year he did a lot more with less. But his legs helped him a lot. That ACL injury last year, of course, he's still working on getting those legs back. But maybe tonight's the night where we see him, see those legs work out. And like you said before, this whole gauntlet that Giants were supposed to go through, Cleveland, Dallas, then you had Seattle, the Eagles, and the Steelers, right? And it was like, when the Giants were going to win a game. And Jones came out and said, I'll show y'all when we're going to win a game this past week against Cleveland. Went 24-34, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. And that's the thing. These past couple games, we forget Jones has not thrown or committed a turnover, no fumbles, no interceptions. He's been smart with the football. And he just faced a Commanders team that's improved and a Browns team with a
Good
great
defense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Cleveland's offense. You cannot take away from what they have on defense.
Mm-hmm. And he's been pretty efficient too. 65% of his passes have been completed, 235 yards on average, 4 touchdowns total these past couple games. Look, his mental
Improving
toughness.
every week. He's
Yeah.
improving every single week, which, like, sure, it's year 6, and we shouldn't be saying that. But from where we were week 1, I have more confidence in Jones than I did walking out of MetLife Stadium that day. I remember I was on the phone with my friends, and I'm like, "There's no way Jones can start next week. It's so bad."
Mm-hmm.
Put in Tommy. I was chanting for Tommy DeVito in the stands because I'm like, this sucks.
And it's like, after tonight, if he plays bad, we're going to come back here and criticize him. But it doesn't matter how much we criticize him. He's still going to be the same guy. He's still going to be the guy that's like, all right, what can I improve on week to week so that way I can help my team as long as I'm the starter get to wins. And even Dable was like, look, Jones has always focused on what he needs to do better, especially this year from week 1 to week 2 to week 3. They watch the tape together. They coach, he coaches them up together, technique, whether it's technique or play calls. Even though he may not be his guy, the trust is still there as much as it's how much it's hard to believe that. Um, and think about it. He's gone through so much. Last year's ACL injury, especially even when it was healthy, that 40-0 loss to Dallas, right? That crazy comeback against Arizona that was unbelievable to, the struggles after that. Hard knocks. We found out that the Giants were actively trying to trade up for a quarterback. He had to deal with that. He
Yeah,
was
I
asked
think they
about.
hit it a little bit, like how much. I really think if it was like, say, the Giants had no control over what was seen and what wasn't, you're going to see a lot more conversations of, okay, Drake May is the guy we need to go get.
Mhm,
I think they hit some of it, but I truly think they were much more invested in a quarterback than Hard Knocks laid on.
mhm. Like, they tell him, "All right," or reporters ask him, "How do you feel about, the Giants trading up? How do you feel about possibly losing your job?" And he's always like, he's just focused on what he can do at the moment. He was always gonna be the starter heading into the season. The Giants still had confidence in him, and no matter what criticism he's received, he's went out there and done his job. And as
Yeah.
much, like I said, we criticize him a lot. We do. You're pretty hard on him.
I hands up,
Yeah.
you're easier on him than I am. I'm pretty hard on him. Like I was done with him in the preseason, but
Mhm.
I will say with Jones is he has the one thing that every coach wants out of their quarterback, and that's like a work ethic and a really good mentality. Those are two things you can't teach. Like
Mhm.
you can teach someone to throw a football better. You can teach someone, you could build an offense around someone to work to their strengths. If the quarterback doesn't want to put the effort in, put the work in to get better, fails like we've seen with Jamarcus Russell and Johnny Manziel. Daniel Jones is okay. I'm struggling, but I'm still going to go in and do everything I can to get better. All right. He's not sugarcoating it. So
Yeah.
he's got that thing, which is good for a New York quarterback and makes guys like Joe Shane and Brian Dable, who are football guys, go, okay, we can try and win with this guy. He has the right mentality. And you could see it in the go back to the 2022 end of year press conference. Joe Shane's talking glowingly about Daniel Jones, not for what he did on the field, what he was doing off the field in the locker room and in the film room. That's where they like Daniel Jones.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said with him, we forget he helped us make the playoffs, and he may not put up the best numbers passing wise, but let's not, he does have, as much as it's crazy to say, that season similar stats to what Jalen Hurts is putting up. I'm just saying, similar stats to a guy
We
who,
still call Trevor Lawrence a generational quarterback, and their stats are identical.
yeah, just because what
It's more
first
about
round pick,
Trevor Lawrence than Daniel Jones, but the
yeah,
fact remains.
and in terms of playoff success, they're very, very similar, Lawrence and Jones. So,
Won a playoff game? He blew the game to the Chargers. Oh no, the Chargers blew that game.
no, it was Brand. Yeah, the Chargers blew it. Remember, it was like they were up by a
I wasn't
lot, and
that
then
game.
Jackson. Yeah.
It was a hockey game that night. I wasn't watching. I was at the Rangers minor league team, and I got the alert. I'm like, oh, glad I missed that game. The game was over. I was in a bar. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Speaking of the Chargers, yeah, Brandon Staley. Oh man, he was so bad, dude.
The guys fire him. He's not good.
Man. But honestly, I'm sure Chargers fans they're happy now that they went through all that pain to get a guy like Jim Harbaugh now, who's done a pretty good job, for them. Yep.
Yeah. So under Trevor Lawrence, I think they only have won one playoff game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's divisional. Previous game. Yep. That blow. Yep, they've only won one. Then they went to Kansas City, got blown out.
Ah,
Both 1-1.
yeah. See, so just because one guy has a long hair from Clemson, that doesn't mean crap statistically. And
He won 2 now. He's at Clemson. He won some national championships at Clemson. That's a little different, but
yeah, he may have won national championships in college, but same stats in the playoffs in the NFL as Daniel Jones. So to sum this up, I wanted to bring it up because no matter what happens tonight, no matter how much we say bad about him next week and the week after, and how many games he does struggle with the rest of the year, we cannot question his character and his poise and the guy that he is on and off the field. And he's a guy that he's a good teammate. He always supports his guys, always tells them good job after every single scoring drive, like we've seen in sights and sounds this season. So he's a great leader. No matter what happens to him in the future, I will never hate him because he's done the right things. Maybe decision wise on the field, not so much, but in
yeah.
terms of overall off the field or saying the right things, he's handled the media as well as he could, and for that I commend him. All right,
Yeah.
Brian, I see your hat. I feel like we get the same hat style, right? It looks the
Sort
same.
of, yeah. It's the
Yeah.
Notre Dame, then the Fighting Irish up here. I'll just take it off and
Oh, okay.
print it
Yep,
right in.
47.
Lids, buy one get one free. Got this for free at
Mhm.
Lids.
Oh, what was the other hat that you got?
I bought that Mets hat I have over there, and it was buy one get one. I'm like, oh, that one.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's great they have that hat on, by the way, because you guys play the Louisville Cardinals this upcoming weekend. I want to get your thoughts on that. Every week we always do, Notre Dame reviews and breakdowns, and also the previews. For those of you who like to read, Brian has his debriefing from last week's game, available to look at on bellyupsports.com. But let's focus on this week. You guys have the Cardinals who are ranked. What are the keys to beating this team? Yeah, I mean, I know we've seen Riley Leonard kind of struggle through the passing
Yeah,
game still.
that's a big one. It's Riley Reed. Well, Riley Reed. Whoa, Riley Leonard.
Oh,
Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard needs to get better in the passing game. Because this Cardinals team has gone up against not, the best running games in the past, but they have, I think it's the 28th ranked defense when it comes to stopping the run, which has been a major reason for this Irish turnaround. Right, I think they have like 6 rushing touchdowns against Purdue, some rushing touchdowns last week against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They've been very big with running the football, getting Leonard's legs involved, getting Price and Love involved. That's been the MO of his offense. That's not going to work this time around. All right. That will work against teams like Purdue and Miami of Ohio who are struggling. But when you have the Cardinals, who are the 15th best team in the country and have this great run defense, you need to throw the ball. You need a quarterback to be able to make plays all by himself. Get Collins, get Mitchell, get Evans, get them all involved. So that's a really big key, is get this passing game going. The second key on defense is to get to Louisville's quarterback. All right. Louisville's quarterback has had a great job picking apart defenses. When you get him to just sit in the pocket and let the play develop, he finds the opening better than a lot of guys do. And Notre Dame has a really good secondary. I think it's like a top 5 defense in the country. But still, if you can get some of Louisville's quarterbacks talent to sit there and dissect defense, I don't care how good your defense is, he's going to find that opening. So you need to pressure him, get him scrambling, get him running around, and force him to make errors. Those are the 2 big things to help the Notre Dame win.
Okay. In terms of defensively, what worries you about Louisville, if you don't mind me asking?
It Shaw's ability to just pick defenses apart. Like, we've seen, there's a lot of injuries on the defensive line right now, and sure, we've had guys step up, but like, they've kind of been underclassmen guys, sophomores. Like, they've kind of come out of nowhere. Like, how quickly until that magic sort of runs out. So if that interior holds, this offense is going to be able to just kind of have a field day with the Irish.
Alrighty. So, and then also, because the only thing I'm happy about for this game is that you guys are wearing the green jerseys. Who I like those jerseys a lot. So turns out, Mark, not that it's important, but Marcus Freeman was like, "Yeah, I'll let the captains decide what uniforms they want to wear this week, and it's going to be the green ones for you guys." So you guys are at home though. So that's
We need a
always good. What's up?
good, but if we've seen on Twitter the past couple weeks, the Notre Dame home crowd, we have the rowdy fans, which like is me and like the people who like live and die this team, and then we have like the wine and cheese football fans who go there because like oh like we go to Notre Dame, like it's classy, it's all this sort of stuff, like we're better than some of like the cults we see of Southern football with like the Alabama fans, the Texas A&M fans. No, 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 not on like we had stories of fans standing up on third down and people behind them asking them to sit down. Football game, stand up, make noise, get loud. We need Notre Dame Stadium rocking on Saturday. We need that to be an intense environment because it can be if we get some of these ushers to stop, acting like Imperial stormtroopers from Star Wars, and some of these like, stuck up fans to realize that all want the same thing, but if we make noise and get loud and get rowdy, that's going to help the team win. That's going to get the other team, mixed up, confused. That's what we need to do. We need to get loud. We need to revive this Notre Dame fan base and get it to be a fan base like a Texas A&M or a US or an Alabama, because we're much bigger than they are. Alabama's now a national brand. Texas are national brands, but like their core is still in Alabama, Texas. Notre Dame stretches from sea to shining sea. If you go, the two biggest cities is New York and Chicago. Both of them have major, and I think major Notre Dame following, so much so that they are the college football team of those cities. Chicago's close makes sense, but New York is, much a long way from Indiana. So if we get a rowdy fan base with how big we are, it could be one of the biggest advantages we have over everyone else.
Yeah, that's why they call stadium pulls in NCAA College Football 25. But all things considered, in all seriousness as well, Louisville has a great offense, man. And if the crowd can get things going, get rowdy, like you mentioned, it's gonna make things hard on that offense. And if that has an effect on the Cardinals, you guys have a decent shot to win because look, even though Leonard isn't the best at throwing the football, he can run with it. And Jeremiah Love has done nothing but done a heck of a job in that backfield, from what I know. So we'll see what happens on Saturday.
The run game gets going, it keeps Louisville's offense off the field. Like it's what the Giants did in Super Bowl 25, where they're just like, all right, we can't beat Jim Kelly with our defense, so we'll just keep him off the field. That's why Otis Anderson had 1,000 yards that game and won MVP, because the Giants just kept running the ball. Use that same strategy in this game, and you'll win.
Yeah, and if you guys win tonight, definitely a lot more optimism, a lot more confidence from everyone else. That's saying, all right, maybe the Irish are back. That one loss to Northern Illinois, which, by the way, I heard they got upset, if I'm not mistaken.
Upset by Buffalo, which they got upset by Buffalo. They were still a ranked team. Let's just do hypothetical Notre Dame wins. It would look a lot better. They would jump in the rankings because they would now have 2 ranked wins under their belt, and they lost to Northern Illinois. But hey, they're still ranked. Maybe they're a little underrated. Maybe they're better than we think they are. They could have had a shot at the playoff. They probably still do with automatic qualifiers for the MAC and stuff. But maybe it was a perfect chance for the Irish to, I want to say, recapture the hype after Texas A&M game. Get us back towards like, all right, it's not over yet. Like that was a really bad loss, but get more confidence in this team.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys pull out the win on Saturday. It's gonna be a good week of college football this weekend. And we'll
say
see.
24-17 is what I'm going to say. Your finals. Close
okay.
one.
All right. So that means Louisville's offense will not be as explosive as we are used to seeing. All right. NFL Week 4 picks. We'll do it every week for you. We both have the Giants tonight. Confidence in them to win tonight, or yeah,
I'll go to the Giants tonight.
yeah,
Why not?
I'll go
Might not
Giants
get
as
hurt
well.
again.
I believe in our boys, baby. Al Michaels calling his 20th game tonight, between
Love
Cowboys
Al
and
Michaels in the
Giants.
call.
Me
I know he's not
too.
as good as he once was, but he's just got like such a
Or aura, charisma.
he's like one of the last like old school broadcasters.
Mm-hmm. I love him. I no problems with him. Never had problems with him. Never. I do miss him in Collinsworth, but him and Herb Street, not too bad either. Um, but when I think of Herb Street, I think of college football, the NCAA football.
I kind of hate Herb Street calling college football.
In both the real and in real life in the game, or just
Can't stand him. He's just I like the dog, but he had a game where it was two seasons ago. Notre Dame went to USC, and Herb Street was hyping Caleb Williams the entire night. Like, this is an amazing throw. I'm like, dude, it's a 4-yard check down. Like, it was like Collinsworth and Romo with Mahomes.
oh
Like, I
my
can't believe he got a
god.
first down on that. I'm like, it was 3rd and 17, and he threw it like halfway. He's nowhere close to a first down. What are you talking about? I can see it on my TV. I see the yellow line. He's not there.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I will say college football wise, I love Gus Johnson. Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer, those two are good for ESPN.
CBS guys are good. I miss him calling the SEC, though.
Me too, man.
SEC guys.
Sons
Those
of
aren't Big Ten guys. I love the Big Ten more than the SEC, but I can't listen. I just watch and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. These guys need to be calling Bama, Auburn, not
mm-hmm.
Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah, like Big Ten belongs to Fox. SEC should be back to CBS. And then ESPN can get everything else. But SEC should have been this year and forever always on CBS. But hey, whatever, I guess.
Yes. SEC, Fox, Big Ten, ESPN, Big 12, NBC, Notre Dame. That's simple.
Yeah, there we go.
Kind of up against the rest because you still got like the ACC and the Pac-12. But they'll find their spots.
Pac-12, by the way, they're back.
Pac-12's back.
Yeah.
I got had an article last week about potential new teams, and then an article coming out hopefully today about a potential Pac-12 Mountain West merger.
Do you? I'll find out for myself. Will I? Yep, I will find out for myself. If you possibly have Cal coming back, you don't have to tell me, but
I do as a long shot. I broke it down to like it's changed. Some of the teams are out of date because we have news 24/7 conference realignment. But I broke it down to okay, these are 4 like likely teams, and these are 4 long shots. Like, yeah, they probably will find themselves in the Pac-12 one day, but like it's going to be 5-10 years down the road from now. The next round of realignment, we'll see these guys.
bet perfect. Well, yeah, that article will be out today, as I will get into that and edit that for you. Okay, Sunday's matchup starts with the Saints and the Falcons. Saints coming off a loss to the Eagles last Sunday. I'm going to go with the Saints.
I'm going with the Falcons. I know they had a tough loss to the Chiefs, but they played them really well. They had a nice bounce back performance against the Eagles. I like this Falcons team. I think they're coming into their own. I'm going Falcons.
Okay. Rams and the Chicago Bears.
This is tough. I think I'm going to go with the Bears with the injuries.
If healthy,
Rams, but right now, Bears.
yeah, I'm going to go Bears too, because as long as Keenan Allen's healthy and ready to go, I think that Bears offense should handle a Rams defense. And the Rams offense is complete. I know they beat the Niners, but that doesn't change anything. That Cooper Kupp and Akua aren't there. Kyron Williams can go down at any. I don't want to be a hater, but Kyron can go down at any moment because that guy is just at injury prone throughout his career. So go with Chicago on that one. Minnesota and Green Bay.
Minnesota.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
Well, let the hot train continue. Let's see Sam Darnold continue to sling it.
Yeah. I think Jordan Love is questionable, correct, for that game? As if you know from
I think he's questionable for like until he actually like comes back, which
okay.
is like either now or week 3 weeks. It's week 7-ish.
hmm And even if he does come back, the rust will be
He's
that a
rusty.
little bit. Yeah. So go Minnesota for that one. Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. I'm gonna go Pittsburgh.
So I got Pittsburgh. Yeah, T.J. Watt's gonna have Anthony Richardson seeing ghost. Like it's gonna be a rough day.
Plus, Justin Fields has done a pretty good job at starting quarterback, undefeated so far.
He's
So
done a great game manager. He's done exactly what he needs to do.
exactly. Russell Wilson, who?
Yeah.
Denver and the Jets.
Give me the Jets.
Yeah, Jets, Jets. Denver, Bo Nix will struggle against that Jets defense, in my opinion. Eagles and Tampa
Gonna have a
Bay.
gay.
Yeah.
Give me Tampa.
You will never pick the Eagles, will you?
I did pick the Eagles. I picked the Eagles the past 2 weeks.
No,
Tampa at home.
impressive. That's true. Yeah, Tampa didn't. They struggled last week against Denver. Philly barely beat the Saints. I expected improved performance from the Eagles. Give me Philly against Tampa. Mr. Redhead himself, Andy Dalton, led the Panthers to their first win of the year last week. He takes on his former team, the Bengals, at home.
Give me the Bengals. I think they'll figure it out this week.
Yeah, Andy Dalton will go from being the savior, sort of, to right back to where he is, which is a backup. Jacksonville, Houston. Give me the Texans.
Yeah, Texans all day. Not even gonna be a contest.
They bounce back for sure. The Texans will. Commanders and Arizona to start the late slate of games.
Love the over in this game. It's 50. The Cardinals offense has been pretty underrated this year. It's pretty good. But give me the Commanders. They're just really, really good. Jane Daniels, really good. But the over though. Go over.
Okay. So that means both defenses suck.
Could be like a Big 12 game.
Ooh. Patriots and the Niners.
Give me the
Niners. Cleveland and Las Vegas, who may have some business decisions that they will make this upcoming week.
I mean, this is tough. This really is.
It's going to be
I think
ugly.
I'm going to lead Raiders.
Me too.
I don't love it.
It's going to get ugly.
Yeah. It really is.
I think Max Crosby. Ooh. He did not practice fully on Wednesday, so he may be out for Sunday's game. We shall see.
That changes things.
A little bit. I was still leading Raiders, but by like 3 or something. Chiefs and Chargers in SoFi.
Chiefs will win, but it's going to be another close game.
Travis Kelce, please bounce back.
Touchdown. Like, come on.
Dude, come on.
By the way, did you see, speaking of the team coming up is the Bills. Speaking of Travis Kelce, did you see what Haley Seinfeld said after the game?
No, I did not.
So there was like a group picture that came out of everyone who was in her box, and she goes, I told the NFL not, it was something along the lines of, she told somebody not to have the cameras point on her because she just wants the attention on the field and doesn't want to bring attention to herself at the game. I'm like, there's someone that can learn from this.
Yeah, I wonder who could that be. This is why Haley Steinfeld is the GOAT.
That seems like such a shot at Taylor Swift. Oh my God, I love it. Get this Chiefs-Bills rivalry back up. Let's go, boys.
For real, though. Taylor Swift versus Haley Steinfeld out of all people, but Steinfeld's winning every single time, baby.
Steinfeld side.
Yes, sir. And she's at... Okay, no, that's a bit rude. Swift is a better singer, but Seinfeld has fucking bangers too. Excuse my language.
Yeah, you can't like for a music aspect. It's Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is so big. She changed the United States GDP. Her tour was so big. The United States, the gross domestic product of the country went up. That's incredible. I don't care what you say about Taylor Swift. You can hate her, you can love her. Affected the United States economy just by going on tour.
She has that much power, man, and a lot of people do
love her because of it.
Yeah, so I guess we thank her a little bit, but at the same time, there's broadcasts do show her a lot, and that
Yeah,
it does get a bit old. Like just show her once or twice, like it's nice. Like
yeah, sure. Like if Travis does something big, you could flip up there quickly to
yeah,
see her celebrate. But like outside of that, I don't need to see her.
like give me Paul Skeens, Livy Dunn type of attention.
Exactly.
The All Star game that was perfect. Twice in the first inning. That's it. That's all you need.
You didn't see her again.
Yeah, they showed her when he stepped on the field versus, and then they showed him. They showed her after he got the final out of the first inning of the All Star game, and that's it. No shout out to Fox.
Part of it is the storyline is kind of over because team's out of the game.
Yeah,
But like the All-Star game could have gotten way more ratings if hey, we're gonna keep showing Livy Dunn all game. You don't think a bunch of people are gonna tune in?
yeah, this will be done. Literally, she's part of today's weird ass language of skibbity toilet and baby Gronk, Livy. I don't know, man. Some weird ass language people
I
come
mean,
up
the
with.
elementary school kid that was trying to steal Paul Skeen's girl. Livy Dunn says the most uncomfortable thing she's ever done in her life. She was like forced into doing that. She didn't want to do that.
I would think it's baby Gronk. Like, he's not. You know what? Who am I to judge a kid, right? Just kidding. I'll judge him if I want to. That
I'll
kid's
judge you. This is America. I can do what I
he
want.
sucks. He what
this
is?
is just a father being like, I know how to use the internet, and I want my son to be good at football.
Yeah, newsflash. He's not. He's not making crap. And this whole like I'm gonna retire or I'm working out at 6 a.m. No, you're not.
Bro, you're doing what I was doing at 6 a.m. You're either sleeping or watching sports or playing video games.
Watching
One of the two.
SpongeBob. Watching SpongeBob.
Yeah, you're
Something.
watching SpongeBob. You're doing like kid stuff. You're not training.
All right, and then Sunday night game is gonna be between the Bills and the Ravens. Ravens big win against the Cowboys this past Sunday. Buffalo Bills demolished the Jags on Monday night. Give me the Bills.
Give me the Bills. Give me the Bills. They're going to cement themselves as the team to beat this year with this win.
Yep, definitely 100%. MVP Josh Allen, baby, continues his magical run. Let's do it. And then Monday night, 2 games once again. Tennessee and Miami.
Yeesh.
Give me Tennessee.
Give me Miami.
Okay.
Can't trust Tennessee.
You know what? Let's be honest, Brian. We don't trust any of these teams. But hey, we gotta pick one.
Going to set football back.
Thank God there's another one on another game on the schedule. Seattle and Detroit.
Started 7:32.
Yeah, please. Like, did we have to wait 45 minutes? But Seattle and Detroit will play as the other Monday night game as well.
Give me Detroit.
Okay, same here. All right, that was our week 4 picks. Yeah, we shall see what happens, and we'll get back to you guys next week on that. All right, before we get to our 5 sports, this is so creative. And shout out to Brian, my guy. You come up with those creative stuff for this podcast. I appreciate you. 5 sports moments that should be movies. We'll get into that in just a bit. But I spoke with Brian off air about this. I texted him the moment I heard about it. First off, Mother Nature, you son of a gun. Seriously, you ruined a lot of things, but you had to ruin this magical run that the New York Mets are on. Really? Come on. But for those of you who don't know, the Braves Mets game yesterday and today were postponed because of weather. So what does MLB do?
Not just weather. A hurricane we've known about for weeks.
Oh, how about you explain more? Because I didn't know about the hurricane stuff.
There's a hurricane. I forgot what it's called. Helena. Something along that line is like right in the Gulf of Mexico right now. The path it's taking, it's gonna go through the Florida Panhandle and right up to Atlanta. So they're expecting a lot of rain. Georgia's in a state of emergency. I think Florida's in a state of emergency. FEMA's down there, like they're preparing for some damage. I think it's to be the last time I checked a Category 4 when it makes landfall. So it's like one of the strongest a hurricane can be. But anyway, so we've known about this for a few weeks now. You never know. Weather's very, change at any second. Like, one weird thing and this thing could be heading to Texas for all we know. Regardless, we've known about this. And with such a big series in Atlanta between the Mets and the Braves, we talked about it on Tuesday. The Mets, I think, have a game lead over Atlanta right now. For that final wild card spot, I think we're a half game behind the Diamondbacks, who didn't play, and they played at 1 last night. So they're a half game ahead of us. We're a game above Atlanta. Anyway, these 3 games were important. And the fact that you have such an important series and there is no backup plan other than a doubleheader on Monday, do you know what's going to do? So the Mets now need to escape Atlanta somehow, which is, really hard with the rain. Like, what planes are getting out during a state of national emergency? They need to get to Milwaukee, play 3 games in Milwaukee, come back to Atlanta for a 1:10 first pitch on Monday for a doubleheader straight through. So they'll play the 9 innings, wait 30 minutes, and whenever the 1 o'clock game ends, they'll start the second game. And then if the Mets clinch, they'll have to either go back to Milwaukee or go to San Diego and play that night. What's going on here? Why is it the Mets have to now bend over backwards to fit in it? Why wasn't there either a neutral site planned for this? Like, okay, we can't play Atlanta. We're moving the series to Kansas City. We're moving it to Houston. They've done it in the past. They moved the Yankees-Rays series with Hurricane Irma to Citi Field. I'm not saying move it to New York, but you can move it to a neutral site that doesn't affect it. Or, here's the other big one. Don't have your playoffs start a day after the regular season ends. Give it that kind of grace period so in case something like this happens, you can move it and not mess up the pitchers, mess up this. Because if the Mets are playing 18 innings on Monday, they're going to blow through their bullpen. They're going to blow through all their starting pitchers, especially if the playoffs are on the line. They're going to go into game 1 with their bullpen taxed and the starters gone. So, how is this fair at all for the Mets to go through?
I was looking at this article. As much as I wish you guys could avoid playing Monday, you guys have to play Monday nonetheless because the Atlanta Braves are also competing for a playoff spot, as we all know. So, what I assume you know what the Mets can do to kind of avoid stressing with Monday, correct? Because
it's when they can lock it up. The magic number is 4 right now. So if they win in Milwaukee and the Diamondbacks lose, in Milwaukee.
Okay. Yeah, because if you sweep the Brewers, right, you're tied with Arizona and you're 1 game up on Atlanta. That means that the Mets sweep the Brewers, the Braves, or the Diamondbacks lose a game. The Mets are in the playoffs, and Monday's games would only matter for seeding. At least for the Mets, that is, because the Braves and the Diamondbacks would only be fighting for that final spot. Let's say that you guys win 2 out of 3 from Milwaukee, right? That means if the Diamondbacks and the Braves or Braves drop 2 of 3 in their own respective series, the Mets would at least clinch a spot. Yeah. However, if you guys lose 2 out of 3, the only way you would guarantee yourself a postseason berth is if the Diamondbacks or the Braves get swept. Regardless of that, you guys still be playing on Monday, and let's say you guys get swept by Milwaukee. That makes it hard to make the postseason, but that's the only hope if that does happen is that the Braves or the Diamondbacks lose 2 out of 3 or get swept, which keeps them alive for Mondays, and that would give the Mets a magic number of either 2 or 1, which does allow them to control their destiny, but they have to sweep the twin belt. Now, I know that was a lot, and for those of you who are like, Nathan, you said a lot of crap. To sum that up for you,
it's very simple. Sweep in Milwaukee, you're
beautiful.
good.
Mm-hmm. And you guys should. I think you guys have.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee is wrapped up. I think they've wrapped up a spot. I think all the divisions are clinched, except we're only. I don't think the AL East is clinched yet. I think Baltimore can weirdly get in.
Baltimore, you said?
I think the AL East is the only division I don't think the Yankees have clinched it. I think they've clinched a playoff spot.
Correct.
I don't think they've clinched the division yet because if Baltimore wins out and Yankees lose out, something like that, it's very unlikely. But I think that's like the last division race. Milwaukee's in, right? Milwaukee's clinched.
Yes, that is correct. That is
play for
nothing to play for.
Play for this series. So I'm not saying they're not going to compete, but it's going to be the hangover games where you kind of rest your starters, get the backups in there. You're not going 100% because your eyes are on the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I really hope you guys get in. I really do. It'd be nice to see City Field lit up, and schedule wise, you
Tickets did
guys.
go on sale today. I haven't looked yet, but I'm definitely considering. It's definitely considering buying some tickets.
Tomorrow, yeah. So today's game was postponed. So you guys will play tomorrow against the Brewers, Saturday and Sunday as well. Manaya takes the mound for you guys against Frankie Montas of the Milwaukee Brewers. So,
And Montas shut us down opening day, so nice revenge if we can really beat up on the Brewers in Milwaukee. Which is kind of weird. We opened the series with Milwaukee and ended with Milwaukee.
yeah.
I know we're gonna end it with the Braves, but we didn't have a hurricane, we would have been in Milwaukee to end the season.
So stupid, man.
Rob Manfred, just another just piece of why he's the most incompetent person in all of sports. You don't have the foresight to be like, I don't know, it's hurricane season. Maybe we should have a little bit of leeway.
One of the worst commissioners. Figure it out, man.
At this point, it's okay. Adam Silver is the good one, and then it's Goodell. It's Silver, and then a three-way tie for last between Goodell, Manfred, and Bettman. Every day, my rankings change with those three, of which one is truly the worst. I think I would put Goodell second. I think most of his problems come from just inconsistency. Anything else, but Manfred and Bettman are just idiots.
Yeah. We can put the NCAA commissioner in second place if we wanted to. He's done a pretty good job.
I don't know about that. That guy's a moron.
Oh, okay, never mind. Oops.
What he's doing. Even with the SEC commissioner, he's good.
All right. Well, you got me there. I thought the NCAA commissioner was good, but I digress.
NCAA is the most corrupt organization in the country.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no question about that.
The fact that anyone takes them seriously is an absolute joke.
We don't got to deal with that. We can talk about it. We don't got to deal with that, though. That's a good thing. All righty. Speaking of college football, I do have a few of these, but we are going, each of us, I believe, are going to give out our 5 sports moments that should be movies. Shout out to Brian for coming up with this outstanding idea. Brian, what made you think of this? And you can start us off, baby. What 5 moments you got for us?
Yeah, so I was watching a documentary on YouTube the other day about Bountygate, which we kind of missed at our age because we were we were watching football, but we weren't involved in the day-to-day. We watched the Giants, we watched other games, but we weren't following it as close as we do now. So we kind of missed Bountygate because I think Peyton was suspended in 2012. Bountygate started in, I want to say, 8. So, yeah, hang on one second. My dad's texting me.
Of course, yeah, no worries. Bountygate.
So I was watching it, and I'm listening to Greg Williams.
Yeah.
And everything he's saying, and I'm like, this is insane. How has this not been bro? He's we want Frank Gore running sideways. Oh, hang on one sec. You take over. I have to go. I'll be right back.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, Bountygate is something I don't have much expertise with. Like Brian said, that was something that when I wasn't used to or really didn't hear about growing up. And for those of you who don't know, Bountygate was basically an illegal thing where the Saints were placing bounties on opposing players that if a target player was knocked out of the game, a bonus would be paid to the defensive player that made the hit. So let's say in today's world, right? If CeeDee Lamb today was the bounty player and Deontay Banks laid a big hit on him, he'd be the one getting the bonus. So for those of you who don't know, that is kind of what Bountygate was, and that's what the Saints were doing back in 2009 to 2011.
Favre was the first one they said that had it. They said it's gone farther than that, but Favre was the first main example that kind of raised some red flags.
Oof, man.
Yeah. So I was watching it and I'm listening to what Greg Williams was saying. I'm like, this would be a crazy movie. And that's where the idea popped in. Like, wait, there's a bunch of other sports moments that should be movies. So here's my top 5. I want to throw an honorable mention because I don't think either of us had this one, and
Mhm.
it's gonna be a movie one day. It's the Damar Hamlin story.
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh,
will be a
wow.
movie one day, but I don't
Mhm.
think either one of us included it because it's so obvious, it's so chalky. I'm like, I want to get a little special with it. I want to
Yeah,
get change it up a little bit. So I don't
yeah.
want to just do like, oh, Damar Hamlin, this, what? Yeah, Damar Hamlin will be a movie one day, people. It will end with the interception he just had.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
Anyway, so number 5 is Bounty Gate. For all the reasons I just said, it's insane. They can do the movie like about Greg Williams, a villain, about the investigation, about like the plays. Number 4 is the '86 Mets. If you watched the ESPN documentary about them, this is a team very famous for doing a lot of cocaine, getting into a lot of fights. Like 4 Mets players were arrested in Houston in a bar fight. There's a lot of crazy stories. I think Darryl Strawberry, our star player, bought a prostitute for the Mets head of communications when he was on the road. Like they're just crazy stories that would just be a hilarious movie to watch, like a comedy, like a major league type movie, but with a true story element to it. Number 3 is the 1904 Olympic Marathon. Have you ever heard about this?
I have not. That's a new one. What is that one about?
The Olympic Marathon. It was in, I believe, St. Louis, and it's one of the craziest sports stories ever. Like somebody drove a car to win it. Somebody someone died on the side of the road because of it was on a like a dirt road, like it wasn't a track, it was a dirt road. Was somebody like going in halfway during the race? Like there's just a bunch of weird stories that came out of it that would just be just a really, really funny movie to see.
It feels like
Number
like a
2,
comedy more than anything, but I digress.
it's just like like how can this get any worse? And it just does. Number 2, I'm taking a break from like funny stuff. The Houston Astros cheating scandal. You can kind of do it like you ever see the movie 8 Men Out? It's about the 1919 Chicago White Sox who were paid to throw the World Series, and it kind of shows like what the players were doing, what how the media found out, the trial. Do a similar movie of like, okay, this is how the operation was set up. This is how it was leaked to the public. This is what the commissioner did. This was the investigation, and kind of make it like that. So you kind of get an idea of everything. I think that'd be a really cool kind of historical fiction investigation type movie, like kind of like 8 Men Out, President's Men, stuff like that. And then finally, it's Doc Ellis throwing a no hitter on LSD. You could do a Dude, Where's My Car? You ever heard about this? Doc Ellis was a pitcher for the Pirates in 1974, and he believed he was 2 days out from starting. Like, all right, I'm good. So all right, I'm gonna get high. I'm gonna do an acid trip. So he popped an LSD thing, just went about his night. Woke up the next morning, popped more acid, and then realized that he wasn't pitching tomorrow. He was pitching today. So he went to the stadium, pitching the game while high off his mind. He claims that he could see the seams of the pitches, that Richard Nixon was behind home plate as the umpire. Like he had all these wild stories. And then on top, somehow, no hitter against this, but had like 8 walks, like the worst no hitter performance you could possibly have. So that'd just be another great kind of sports comedy moment. Like if you ever see like Dude with My Car, which is just like a complete, just like a stoner movie, similar concept.
I just looked at it right now. 8 batters walked. He hit another batter. Like, basically, he walked the whole damn team, and he still threw a no hitter. Unbelievable. Um, well, great picks. Honestly, those better be movie. That one of them that you has to be a movie one day. Seriously. Speaking of movies, I heard that remember the whole Trey Turner standing ovation thing? I heard that's gonna be a short movie.
Netflix is doing that. Yeah, doing a like a short thing about it, right?
About like the fan who kind of started the whole thing behind that. Shout out to that. That was, I know it's kind of weird, not weird, but um,
It's
y-
not Philly. Philly
yeah,
just throw batteries at him.
yeah. It's not something that should be like a short movie or whatever, or short film, I should say. But hey, it's interesting, and I'm looking for. I think it's
One of
coming
those
out
cool like
soon.
Sports Center features where like they're like 10 minutes and it's like a mini documentary.
That's
That's what I think
perfect.
it fits better as.
hmm But like, I don't know. I mean, Netflix is trying anything at this point, so I don't blame them. Okay. Yeah, I'll go from 5 to 1 as well. Number 5 on my list for sports women that should be movies. I thought about the Giants to start. Brandon Jacobs. He's an underdog story. I know there's a lot of underdog stories out there in terms of movies, but this guy went from a community college called Coffeyville Community College, went to Auburn. Auburn's a big school, obviously, but he was a third string. Did not get much playing time, so he said, "Screw it. I'll go to Southern Illinois out of all schools." Goes there, does a heck of a job, gets drafted by the Giants unexpectedly, then wins 2 rings. That's a pretty
Yeah.
good underdog story. That's a story right there, and Giants fans would love that, I'm sure. For number 4, Johnny Manziel. I know there's a documentary specifically on him where he talks about his history, but a guy that rose to the top, won the Heisman, was on top of the whole damn world, then just fell off completely because of drug use and parties. And even when he was succeeding, he was always into parties and stuff like that. So just having a movie depicting how he went through college and the party life to struggling when he hit the NFL and all that stuff. That's something that should be a movie to me as well. This is where we get kind of fun a little bit. Number 3, the 1951 SF Dons football team. Uh, they had one of the best seasons ever in college football history. Went 9-0. They outscored opponents 338 to 86. Completely insane. They were 14th ranked in the final AP poll. They were invited to the 1952 Orange Bowl, but they did not play in that game because it was played in Florida, and they were like, okay, you can play in this game if your 2 African American stars do not play, and Ollie Matson and Burl Toller. They said, no way. They did not play in that game. And 2 games after the 1951 season, the program disbanded. So, as a movie about what they went through as a team, how they decided that, hey, we're not gonna play in this game because we want to stand up for our players and racial equality. That's something I feel like that should be on,
Yeah. Like
turned.
remember a Titans type thing.
Yeah, there we go. And then number 2, Doug Williams. By the way, shout out to Incognito. What's up, my guy? Hope you're doing well. Number 2, Doug Williams. He's one guy that stands out to me because we're talking about a guy who is the only he was the first African American quarterback to win a Super Bowl and play, start, and win a Super Bowl, I should say. He led Grambling State to a 36-7 record as a 4-year starter. He led the Tigers to 3 SAC championships, but only one coach went to visit him to scout him, and that was Joe Gibbs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator. He was drafted in the first round of the 1978 draft. He became the first African American quarterback taken in the first round of the draft. He was paid really low. I'm talking like 120,000 a year. So he was severely underpaid. He sat out in 1983 because of the underpayment. The owner, or should I say, the GM, did not want to pay him whatsoever, so he let him walk. He went to the USFL after a year of taking a break from football, but then that league shut down in 1986. So he was like, you know what? Let me go back to the NFL. He reunited with Gibbs on the Washington Redskins. Yes, it was the Redskins back then. We're not going to use Commanders.
Yeah.
He was
Guys, that's just that what the team was called. That's what
yeah,
they were. You
exactly.
say whatever you want about the name and stuff, but like referring to past teams, we have to refer to them as that because they're called.
Yeah. So yeah, he united with Gibbs in Washington. He was the backup to starter Jay Schroeder, but Schroeder went down. Uh, when Schroeder went down, I should say, Williams went in, got the opening win against the Eagles, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And the end of the season,
I'm in.
yeah,
I'm in this movie now.
yeah, like Williams, he only had 2 starts the whole season, but when they made the playoffs, it was like, okay, we trust you, go out there, do your job, and he let went to the Super Bowl, beat the Denver Broncos, and became, like I said, the first African American quarterback to play and win the Super Bowl. So I feel like it's a long story I just talked about, but that's why it should be a movie because there's so many things that happened throughout his career, and to have the end of the movie, seeing him hoist the Lombardi Trophy, definitely something that should be a movie. And before I get to number one, because I do have a few thoughts on this, and I know you do too, because it is a baseball related story. A question
I was
from
going to ask you about this.
Incognito. If you trade Jamar Chase for a running back, who would y'all target? That's a good question. I love these because it
Great question.
gets us thinking. Shout out to you, my Incognito, my guy. I appreciate that.
Yeah. He's talking fantasy, right? Or is he?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
I believe, because the Bengals do need a running back. But who would you
They're not trading
target?
Jamar Chase. They wouldn't trade
Yeah,
Jamar Chase
no.
for
So
a running back.
definitely fantasy wise, then, right? Okay. Well, I mean, they're gonna get it cooking eventually. So I would, if I'm trading Chase, I expect some solid stuff back.
Yeah, I mean he's had a solid season so far. He had his first 2 touchdowns last game, but like struggled against the Chiefs, but was 6 for 62 against the Patriots. So that's we're doing PPR, that's 12.2. Lit up last week, 6 receptions, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. You're trading him at a high, so you definitely want a running back one back for him because he's so explosive.
Mm-hmm.
So that would probably be.
I'm thinking. That's a good question. Fudge, man. Yeah, I was thinking, my boy.
Yeah, really does.
Trying to think here.
I would do like maybe Williams, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs, or Brian Robinson, and some other stuff. Brian Robinson in like a depth piece.
I'm target. Yeah, I would say you're not getting Saquon for Chase. Kamara, no. I think that it's Derrick Henry. I
That's a
feel
good one.
Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, possibly James
Yeah,
Cook,
James Cook could be
Dobbins.
a really good one. James Cook
Mhm.
could be good. I fear Kyle Williams just because of him doing punt returns and the injury concerns he has
Yeah.
there. So like if you want to do Chase for Kyle Williams, that's fine. But I would want to get maybe just a little insurance policy in there as well, just something to sweeten the deal a little bit. So because it's a risk taking him on right now.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, because you're gonna get an RB1 for Chase. It's just a matter of
You
who.
have to. You have to.
The cutoff. Oh, Bijan maybe. Bijan has been off to a sort of a rough start. He is the 15th ranked running back fantasy wise, but he's gonna turn things up for Atlanta soon. So yeah, Bijan Robinson, Derrick Henry, James Cook, Kyron Williams, just a couple of guys that you should consider. And like I said, I know that wasn't the best options for you. And hey, of course, always, Mike, we appreciate the questions. Thank you for the question, by the way. Definitely kind of gets our mind rolling,
Oh
for
yeah.
sure. But yeah, number one. This one hurts. I was hoping to go to the game this year. I was not able to,
I was gonna ask you didn't go.
unfortunately.
You didn't go to the last one.
No, they had no tickets today, whatsoever. Everything was sold out to the point where the best tickets were like the top, and even that was like
Oh, Mount Davis.
no, they didn't open Mount Davis, unfortunately. It was like
So
the closest you
stupid.
get to the
Open
top.
Mount Davis.
Yeah, but it's the A's. Um, yeah, like I've said before, I was always a Phillies fan growing up. I became an A's fan when one of my good friends, his name is Juan. Appreciate shout out to Juan, by the way. He took me to my first ever baseball game, and I was so happy ever since. I never been to a major sporting event before that, and colors were green and gold. The players were all underdogs. My first guy that I liked on the A's was Tony Kemp, out of all
Tony
people.
Kemp, the second
Yeah,
baseman. Yeah.
yeah, he was the first A's player I liked, and I was like, holy crap.
God, I forgot about Tony Kemp. I have in
Yeah, dude.
fantasy a few times when I used to play fantasy baseball back in the day.
Was he good for you?
It's fine.
It was fine. Yeah.
It's like a bench guy.
No, fair. But yeah, he was the first ace guy I liked. They lost the first game I went to. It was against the Chicago White Sox, which ironically they suck now as well.
I
But
mean, suck. Saying the White Sox suck is offensive to anyone that actually sucks.
yeah. They're gonna reach
They're
the.
historically bad.
They're going to be historically back too, right? Because once they lose one more game, they're gonna
Already tied
pass.
the record. They're a one loss away.
Oof. Watch them win the rest of the games and just not.
We have a garbage. If you don't want to watch Thursday Night Football, White Sox Angels are battling for some
Oh
history.
my god! Who
The
the? Oh.
If the Angels lose, it will be the most losses in Angels franchise history. If the White Sox lose, it's the most losses in MLB history in the MLB modern era.
Someone's gonna be trash.
So if you want to watch some really bad baseball, might I suggest?
All right, that's a game for you. Um, but yeah, so my number one was the Oakland A's leaving Oakland. You talk about a team that has so much history, and all of a sudden their selfish owner wants to move their team to Las Vegas to have a bigger market. When in reality, that's not going to do crap. It's pretty simple why that should be a movie, but I do want to say this to wrap things up, and I know you have thoughts on this too, Brian. Yeah, so I became an A's fan 2 years ago. Have been in love with them ever since. Saw my first win opening day 2023. Kyle Muller was pitching versus Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani pitched 6 innings, was outstanding, and then the Angels bullpen just sucked. But Muller did an outstanding
That
job.
sounds about right.
Yeah, Muller did an outstanding job, pitched a heck of a game. Didn't get the win though, unfortunately, because they were down 1-0 when he left. Um, but it was Estoy Ruiz scoring. No, Aletmas Diaz brought Ruiz. Oh, no, fudge. Ruiz brought Diaz. Oh my God. The point is, the A's scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to win the game, and then the A's won 2-1. We'll just leave it at that because dang it, my memory is fogged. But however, the point is, there has been so many memories at the Coliseum not just for me, but for a lot of people out there who've gone to so many games throughout their lives. And the fact that the selfish owner wants to move them to, matter of fact, to Vegas, not even just Vegas, but they have to play in Sacramento for 3 years.
I know.
That's so stupid. Sacramento sucks. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, I know you're not familiar with the California area, Brian, if I'm not mistaken, but
Yeah, no.
Sacramento fucking sucks. Okay, so the fact that they're moving them there for 3 years in a AAA ballpark, out of all things,
Yeah.
not the best choice.
And if I'm not mistaken, there's still like no plans about the Vegas stadium, right? Like it still hasn't been released how they're gonna pay for it.
Mm-mm.
This whole thing seems like it's just gonna like blow up in their face eventually.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think there's some issues with like the field in Vegas. Like when they make the field, it's like it's gonna be hot and stuff. So it's like,
It's gonna be worse than Colorado is, batting wise.
mm-hmm.
Ball's just gonna fly.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, man, not only will this be a good movie, but just shout out to all the fans who have stuck through this team. You know, it's not the players' fault. They're gonna miss Oakland for sure. You
Yeah.
know, what hurt me yesterday was Mark Kotze, our manager. He went out to center field with his wife yesterday after the game. You know, they stayed back, signed autographs for the fans and stuff, but they went out to center field together because Kotze was in center field when he played his first A's game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, it's
yeah, I can't go to
just
the
the
game today.
saddest one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't go to the game today, but we'll be watching it for sure. And yeah, man, just F John Fisher, bro. I mean, he's a
The
greedy bastard.
newscaster.
I'm sorry.
Reporter. You see the sports reporter read Fisher's statement on live on the news and just destroyed him?
I did not, but I will look into that.
You gotta go look this up because he says everything you're feeling right now, he says it.
Perfect. I will take a watch. But
yeah, it's a great watch. 2 minutes long. Perfect.
You being the baseball, expert out of all of us, what are your thoughts on the A's moving and yeah, before we head off?
No, I absolutely hate it. I absolutely hate how functional this whole thing is. You're taking one of the more historic teams out of Oakland. I know they were in Philadelphia. They moved to Kansas City, but they've been in Oakland since '58. I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've been in Oakland since like the late '50s. There's a strong fan base there, And what the Sports Journal has done to Oakland is one of the saddest stories ever because they lost the Warriors, granted with the San Francisco, so it's not really a loss. They lost the Raiders to Vegas. The
Mhm.
A's were the only thing they had left. The A's were that community. And I remember watching baseball in 2013, 2014 when John Lester and Yoenis Cespedes and all those really good A's teams, how packed the Coliseum was and how rowdy that fan base was with the drums, with the flag. It was like everyone compared them to the 12th man because they just loved the A's. And the fact that they're this historic franchise with this great fan base is being essentially forced out because some, trust fund baby who doesn't know how to run a business or doesn't know how to run a sports team wants, an extra few dollars on his net worth is ridiculous. They should be forced to sell because Sacramento is going to be a complete disaster. I expect them to play in Sacramento a lot longer than they are because Vegas is not working with them. John Fisher's crying poor and screaming for more public funds, and I don't think Vegas is going to budge on it. So you're kind of stuck there, and you're going to be a team like the Chargers were a few years ago when they're playing in the soccer stadium, a team without a real home field advantage.
It's like, does he not have money? He's rich. Daddy's money, per se.
Money. You ever see the movie The Irishman? Now, okay, so in The Irishman, there's a scene where it's about Jimmy Hoffa, how he disappeared, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Scene where Kennedy gets elected, and Jimmy Hoffa hates John F. Kennedy, and he goes, the most untrustworthy group of people, millionaires' kids. They didn't earn the money. They have just basically been given everything on a silver spoon. And that's all John Fisher is. He didn't build that business. He got it all from his dad.
Yeah, because Gap. It was Gap.
Yeah, Gap. It was Gap.
Hate that brand. But
all A's fans should boycott Gap.
Yeah, ain't no one go to Gap anyway, so we chilling.
Is there a Gap in Oakland? I doubt it.
Oh, trust me, not in that city.
There is a Gap in Oakland.
Oh God! Well, no one's going.
377 Lakeshore Ave, Oakland, California.
Oh, thanks. We just revealed the address for the store that's gonna get hit with rocks and stones. Fuck you, John Fisher.
Not my fault. It's John Fisher's fault for being a jerk.
True.
It's public information.
True.
Google.
But yeah, man. Today will be the final home game for the A's before they head on the road for their final series against the Mariners, I believe. But overall, thank you to all the players. Mark Katza, you've been outstanding as the the manager for the A's. Shout out to all the workers. I remember this nice lady I met. She was the sweetest ticket person worker there. I never had a bad experience with the A's and their customer service there. I think it was a shout out to all of them because I know their jobs are pretty much they're getting laid off because of their moving situation. But yeah. Well, I know I'll be watching today's game for sure. And yeah, thank you for all the experiences to the Coliseum, man. I know it isn't going to be over for the Coliseum because they will be hosting soccer games starting next year with the Oakland Roots. But baseball will no longer be played, barring any changes at the Coliseum.
Sell, John Fisher.
He's not
sell. There are people in Oakland that want to buy the team that will keep it in Oakland and actually work with the city, not do whatever the hell you're doing.
Yeah, and care about the team instead of So, all right, Brian, that'll do it for today's episode 27 of season 2 of the 30 Tip Podcast. We had a lot of fun with this one. Love the sports moment stuff, and Brian will continue to keep up with making those just random topics that we'll do every single week. We didn't do Wordle today. I promised that God will bring
coming back.
We'll come back. But there's so much to talk about on the sports world. It's hard to mix it in, but no excuses. We'll bring it back next week. Giants, Tay, you want to make us happy tonight? You want us to have a great mood next week? Win tonight, baby. Beat the Cowboys. Just beat them. And we'll have so much confidence heading the rest of the way because we can beat the Cowboys. Let's be honest. We can beat anybody in this gauntlet that we have. For Brian, I'm Nate. Thank you guys so much. Follow us at 3010 Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, we'll see y'all.